Good Sunday morning and good afternoon or good night or wherever you're at in the world that's going to be watching this live stream and or video on YouTube. It's your old buddy John from Behind the Fiends, and welcome to another Horror Hangout Part 2 with our Hangout with Iron City Paranormal. Have to excuse me, I overslept this morning. Why? Because my dumbass didn't set my alarm and I fell asleep on the couch. But like I was telling the Iron City guys, my back hurts this morning, so that's my karma. Give me just a second, and I will bring Derek and Dan from Iron City Paranormal in, and we'll get this show rolling. Welcome in, Derek. And the new daddy himself, Dan.
Hello, everybody. Hello, hello.
Hello, Governor. How y'all doing out there in Pennsylvania?
Trying to stay warm.
Getting ready for the snowpocalypse that's going to happen later today.
Yeah, that thing threw a wrench into my live stream yesterday with Nancy Ritter. She was sitting there telling us a story, and all of a sudden it went and just cut out.
Yeah, it's supposed to get bad. A lot of the times they tell us it's going to be bad, and then we get nothing. So we'll see what happens, I guess.
Let's hope it doesn't cause you all to drop out like it did her yesterday. I don't know. She was
that'd be just a luck.
Like I was telling y'all before we went live, it was like, God, 9:30 my time last night. She goes, I still ain't got no internet, and I'm so sorry. I'm like, Nancy, it's okay. Things happen. It's no big deal. We'll just bring you back next Saturday, and we'll pick up right where you left off. Or we'll just start over again. Who cares? It's a live stream. We can do whatever.
Sure.
Super sweet person, though. If you've seen Scream, she was the girl in the bathroom that gave the dirty look to her cheerleading friend that was talking about how Sidney Prescott should have been murdered with her mother or something to that effect.
Oh, okay. Yep. I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. The short black hair and had yep, that's her.
That's pretty cool.
Super sweet person. So looking forward to having her back next Saturday. I look at it like this as a treat. We had her for a part 1 like you guys, and we get her for a part 2. Any new findings in the world of the afterlife?
I mean, we've been taking a little bit of a break here, giving Dan a chance to kind of prepare himself, but
to daddy up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, our daughter came about 3 weeks earlier than expected, so it's been quite the adventure the last few weeks here.
We are very close to finishing up though our last investigation of the After Hours Tattoo Studio. I think I sent you some stuff, John, about that whistle that we heard and that cat. I think those are some of the more intriguing moments of that investigation.
Mm-hmm.
But we're almost done. We're ready to post that one in the next day or two.
How was the purveyors of the After Hours Tattoo taking it that they have spooks and specters in their place?
Well, he knew they were there. I mean,
I
don't think there was. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's fine. I was just gonna say they've had numerous experiences. Their customers have had experiences with this entity that they believe was previously a male walking through in their shop. He's made his presence very known to numerous individuals. So this was the first chance that they had to get a team in there to actually try to capture some of the stuff that they've seen. So it was a unique opportunity, and they loved it. I mean, the owner John, he did a phenomenal job. With accepting what was, he was creeped out at times for sure with some of the interactions.
He was able to stick around with us, so he was able to experience some things and kind of explain, this has happened before. How do you explain this? Or, holy shit, that's new. I've never seen that before. So there were a few moments that he really didn't want to be a part of it, though, where he felt like it was too much, and he kind of had to take a breather, where I think we're kind of used to it at this point to just keep going. But
yeah,
he stuck with us the whole night. He was very intrigued by everything that was going on. He was questioning everything like we do. So everything kind of just fit well during that entire investigation. But yeah, we've been sharing a lot with him as we go. as we do with everybody. But yeah, we're really close to just kind of completing this one and sending him our findings here.
Yeah, I know some, I guess homeowners, business owners and all that, I guess they get like really weirded out when you finally confirm their worst fears and like, yeah, you got something here. And they're like, oh no, we got to sell the place now. And just different things. Like Luke with his whole Brandon and Susan ghost supposedly that he has in the shop. When I told him that you guys were willing to come in and confirm it for him, he's like, fuck that. Ain't nobody coming in here telling me if I got ghosts or not. I was like, well, don't you want to know? He goes, nope, I'm good. I just tell them that they're not allowed to come home with me, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah,
Okay.
ignorance is bliss with a lot of this kind of stuff, you know.
That's true, especially on what, like, depending on what it is. I mean, I think at that shop, like, we got something. I don't even want to know what you want to consider it. Dark. I wouldn't want to say evil, but it seemed negative. And at one point, John and I both actually looked up at the ceiling, and it looked like something was crawling on the wall in the ceiling. And it's like, I don't think I want to know that, you know. But I think everything else was almost just confirmation, kind of like what you were saying. You know, it's I'm not crazy, or I'm not that crazy, or I'm as crazy as these guys. However you want to put it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always just it's good to hear them just kind of acknowledge, you know, that hey, we're all hearing and experiencing the same things, and that we can kind of come in and help out in that regard. I mean, we've actually had a private residence contact us about something possibly demonic. So, you know, that'll be our next venture.
Be careful with that one. Don't be bringing nothing
Yeah,
home.
yeah, that one's going to take some preparation, I think.
We
Maybe.
don't know how to prepare for something like that, but
That's
we're going to pretend like we do.
We're gonna, yeah, right. To the best of our ability.
I would say bring an exorcist with you at least.
Yeah, seriously.
I
Bring a
mean,
bowl of pea soup or something, you know.
yeah.
Oh yeah, we already actually talked to. I know you met Cindy, and she's going to be coming with us for that one too.
If it'll help you, I've got an action figure of Reagan from The Exorcist. I can mail to y'all and be like, "We're huge fans," and just hold it up. Maybe that'll help you out. I don't know.
Just in
Maybe
case.
we can send it back to you. We can put the demon in it and send it back to you. It could be even cooler.
You can keep it. We'll just call it late Christmas present. It's all you, boo boo. I don't need it back for that. I can order another one.
You don't want to leave it in Luke's shop or anything?
No, because I like to shop there, and he'll get mad and kick me out. He's got a Lando Calrissian statue there that I want to go buy, and if I give him a demon, he might not let me get it.
We'll tell him you're leaving it inside the statue, and maybe he'll give it to you for a discount.
Yeah, maybe. You buy that, Luke? I know you'll be watching later. Probably not. Yeah, just be careful with that one, man. That's the only thing about the paranormal that would scare me is coming across one of those negative entities that you don't know what they expect, I guess. I mean, you guys got more experience with that than me, obviously. I don't know if I would actually go into that. I would be like, no, I'm good. I'm going to pass on this one.
Yeah,
Well,
it's definitely a different vibe, you know. I mean, we just have to pretend like again that we not that we know what we're doing, because I think over the years we've developed enough respect for these, you know, these whatever we've been talking to, whether they've been spirits or entities or whatever you want to call them. You know, I think that we know those boundaries to when we should call it a day. You know, and even if they were previously living spirits of humans, there have been situations where it got to be too much, and we've just said, you know, had to look at each other and say, as fantastic as it is to get some of this stuff, when you know, when things start to throw things at us and, you know,
so
push things.
To your point there, Dan, if you recall it, Fairfield Infirmary up in that that special need, was it a special needs wing or
it was essentially the mental asylum part of the infirmary,
where all of a sudden, you know, we were setting up our stuff and we had things being thrown at us. And I remember very clearly, like, our first reaction was, let's find this, let's figure out what this is. And then it happened again. and Dan just got this feeling like we need to get out of here, and that's the kind of moment where you're like, okay, we're gonna go with our gut on this and hightail it out of here,
So you look at it and go,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
deuces.
Again, yeah, you're balancing again. Is it worth the risk? And to us with what we do, it's not. So we just leave it for another person, another day to find.
Like, I think I touched on it some with Derek on the last live stream. I think I've even told you all, or you as well, Dan. I've had my share of the personal experiences, but the negative ones, can't say that I have. I mean, I've had stuff that scared the crap out of me, like the knocking thing I was telling y'all about in the previous episode. But that's the one thing I'm glad I never had was the negative, because that, I don't know, it just something about that, which I guess it's fair to say, it just terrifies the ever living hell out of me, and then I would never be interested in this stuff ever again, because I'd be like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, there's such a small percentage of that we actually encounter that it's not really ever a deterrent for us, because we've been told that some places are negative, some places are demonic or evil or whatever. And we go into these locations, as understanding and accepting as we possibly can, and you're almost mentally preparing to come across something like this. And then all of a sudden it doesn't happen. And instead, it's a little girl. It's nothing evil, it's nothing dangerous. It's just, a little girl that wants to play with us. So maybe it's our mindset when we go into these places and try to communicate with these energies. But it's a very small percentage of times that it's really negative or anything along those lines.
Yeah, I guess it's like that. What, 1 in 5 might be something that's a little less than friendly.
I'd say probably more like 1 in 10.
I was gonna say probably closer to 1 in 10 for sure.
Okay, well, that's
based
better
off of personal experiences. Honestly, I mean, you hear stories from every place. Almost everybody wants to kind of beef up their stories anyway, and you kind of have to look through that to an extent, and just go into it level-headed. But there's so many times where we're like, we don't even feel anything, or this room that's supposed to be so active, and there's so many stories and legends and lore behind it, and then just nothing happens there. But out back in this parking lot that nothing ever happened in before, we've had all this shit happen to us. So it's like you can't really put a finger on what you're gonna find. You have to go into it with like no expectations.
It's like nothing going on in the house, but my car was randomly doing donuts in the parking lot for whatever reason.
and that would be me saying, well, make sure you get that on tape.
Got a redneck who goes in there going, woo, just, but I guess why we're all here is for the evidence. Everybody loves the evidence. They love the thermals, the EVPs, the night vision captures. So
yeah, I mean, we've tried to compile a list of some of our best, more intriguing, captivating things. We were sharing some of those, Cindy and I, with you last time, places that she went with us, so she had some kind of personal experiences. But this list that we have that we shared with you is kind of everything, like our best hits, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest with you, John. I mean, I'm excited that you guys, in my absence, didn't get into these other ones, because the ones that you guys reviewed, they were great captures. Don't get me wrong, but this other stuff that we have is even, it's going to ramp it up quite a bit with what we believe we've captured, and you're going to see some much cooler stuff. So I was glad to see you only got into a couple of them last time around, so that I could be part of it.
Well, I'm glad we did too, because I was just randomly picking stuff to be
okay, perfect.
that
last time.
Yeah, we were just trying to point you in the directions of places that Cindy, was there too, so she could kind of talk about it. But yeah, I mean, if you want to we can kind of just go through some of these things. I mean, some of our I mean, some things that are simple, like our photographs, we just have a whole list of pictures that we can kind of get into, and you can just kind of we can toss up on a screen and talk you through it. The way that
Yeah.
we like to do things is we like to let you tell us what you see, or if anybody's watching live, what they see, rather than us explaining to you. Because once we point it out, you have it's that mindset of like, oh, well, they told me it's there, so I'm going to look for it now. That's not how we like to do it. And you kind of picked that up last time. You were picking out faces and figures and voices and things, and some of the things that we were showing you. So that's kind of how we like to approach some of these things, just so it's not like a joint. We're not directing you in any specific way.
Yeah, you're not I guess corrupting what I'm seeing, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
So can you all share it from your end, or do I need to control it from mine?
Yeah, so I'll share my screen here with you.
Okay.
I think that'll be the easiest way to do this. So
Dan's gonna hide his history first.
Yeah,
I don't need to see if you've been on X Video or Pornhub.
there's no amount of scrubbing that I can do that'll clean it up enough. So you're kind of just gonna be whatever here. Okay, so
your time is you, sir.
Yeah, no joke. Okay, can you guys see my screen here?
I can add it to the screen right there.
Wonderful. Okay, so Derek and I talked previously. We definitely want to start with the pictures. Pictures do go a lot, but they're not as fun as some of the other stuff we've caught. We're going to start with. So this one is one that was at a tavern, actually, local to the Pittsburgh area, Bridgewater, Pennsylvania, the 1810 Tavern. Derek and I were there immediately during COVID. With the shutdowns and reduction in people that can be in these places, the owner and staff had allowed us to come in, and we were experiencing some frustration early on in the investigation, just due to some external noise. There were some people downstairs that were being a little bit louder than what we needed, especially when we're recording very sensitive quality audio. We want to keep the influence from people downstairs drinking out of it. So Derek and I were getting a little frustrated, and we decided we were just going to sit in this room upstairs in the dark, and just kind of calm ourselves down, because like I said, we were losing control of our emotions a little bit. So as soon as we started to do that, after a few minutes, we started to experience some paranormal oddities. And I was sitting near the attic that goes up to, or the stairway that goes up to the attic on the third floor, and there was definite sounds coming from upstairs, and I could hear whispering coming from up in the attic. So I, obviously told Derek I'm hearing something from the attic, and we went over and opened the door, and this picture is looking up the stairwell of the attic. And one of the things that we do when we take pictures, we don't just take one, we take a multiple sets of them to see if there's anything that changes over the course of those pictures. So this one here is one of the ones. Do you see anything, John? Let's put it that way. It'll be easy.
Get my old man eyes up here closer to the screen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's a good point. Don't try too hard, because there's nothing in this picture. Okay. We took the picture, did not see anything, followed by
what we typically do is 3s or 5s, like sets of that many pictures, just kind of boom, 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 boom.
Right.
Well, I was a little questioning there was a little object off to the left there, that red object, but I was like, I don't know if that's like bucket, box, something off that's up in
this right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just like a bin of some sort. But yeah, this was nothing, followed by another one of nothing, and then the third picture, we did capture this white mist here in the picture. I don't know if you can see my mouse or not.
Yeah.
But we picked up that mist, and it is in very stark contrast to the no mist you can see that there's this white anomaly here that we've had followed by.
It's almost like somebody's blowing chalk dust off of an eraser almost.
Yeah, I mean it's very odd, and if you look, it's not just over the dark areas; it's also over the lighter like truss of the roof. So it is something. It's not just a discoloration in the paneling or anything. It is something that is in front of the wood on the roof. So we explored this further, and I believe we captured audio of whispering in that location as well, in that attic.
We did. It was minimal, but it started with some footsteps. The cliche, typical what you would hear leading up to some of these stories. But if you were up there, there's no floorboard, not anymore. So whatever footsteps we were hearing, it wasn't coming from the beams. You don't have anybody walking from beam to beam. That's not the sound that it was making. But that's kind of the noise that was following after we ventured up there, after we saw that.
Possibility that maybe it was residual, or do you think it was intelligent?
It's really hard to say. I do think that this was intelligent though, because we did get some answers to some of our questions while we were up there. And I believe, Dan, if I'm correct, there was a FLIR image as well, of something like almost pacing side to side. Like, I don't think that we have it in this folder.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I believe from our review, we had, it just looked like a cold spot, almost like moving side to side. Nothing phenomenal, but enough to tell that there was something there, that there was a difference in the spectral.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I think it was something intelligent. I think it was a mix. This location had a mix of intelligent and residual type interactions. With being what it is, it's been through multiple iterations of restaurants. A lot of people obviously coming in and out of the area. So I mean, it was ripe for residual type hauntings as well as the something intelligent. But I believe that this entity specifically was something intelligent, because it seemed like it was. You can kind of see in just the location of it. It's coming over to look down at us. There was something in its area that it didn't like, so it's coming over, or didn't understand maybe, so it was coming over to look at us. Followed by the spirit box responses, as well as the FLIR later on.
I think what we gathered here is that whatever was up there was getting away from the noise. So there's nothing up there. They use that as storage right now. That's all that is. And I believe with some of the responses that we had got, some of the photos that we got, it seemed like things were moving farther and farther away. Like Dan said early on, there was a lot of noise. There were people downstairs still. Even us, I'm sure we were disturbing them. So it seemed like they were climbing higher and higher to try to get away from us and the noise and activity and everything. And that's kind of how it seemed, because they kept moving farther and farther back to the right of the staircase. It just kind of goes on the length of the building. And that, I believe, is where we caught the FLIR image. So it just seemed to be moving farther away.
Kind of backtracking to the whole residual and intelligent. Here's a question I've always had, and I know there's probably not a concrete answer for it, but
there never is.
Do you think intelligent hauntings can experience the residual just as we can here in the physical realm? Or does it not even impede on their existence, that they don't experience it, but we do? Just something I've always had a question of.
See, that's difficult because of all the theories behind everything between both of them, really. I don't think so, because the residual typically is held within a building, within a time frame, within an area. And these intelligent spirits can kind of seemingly move from area to area, location to location, with absolutely no constraint at all. So I think the residual kind of plays more into the building, the location, and the intelligence usually seems to play more into whatever activity or effect had occurred there. So I think that those are kind of two separate entities in what they bring out. And I mean, who's to say? It's possible that they experience that as well, but I don't think that I've ever experienced something where an intelligent would have interacted or recognized a residual. I mean, I don't know what you think there, Dan, but
we've never caught something on video that says, "Hey, did you see that ghost there?" You know, like it's so no, I have no idea.
It would be cool if it did. It'd be like, "Hey man, you see that shit? I did." And then
It would be cool. It would be cool as hell. But yeah, no, we haven't experienced anything like I think.
I just always kind of I thought about
It's a good
that.
question.
You know,
I'm sure there's books upon books about something like that. But yeah, I don't think that that's something that we're, at least in our time period, we're ever going to get an answer to.
Yeah.
Okay. So do we want to let's go to the Anchorage here. This is one of our we have a few from the Anchorage. This is the Anchorage Mansion in Ohio, Marietta, Ohio. One location that we have investigated a few times. I believe maybe not a few, but twice, I believe. Derek and I, prior to this investigation, were actually on our way. It was about 2.5 hours from Pittsburgh. While we were driving there, we were complaining to each other the fact that we never get anything in pictures of windows whenever we're, canvassing the location prior to the investigation. Derek goes around, takes pictures of everything, all the rooms and things to put on our blog. He's always taking pictures of the outside of the buildings, and people have told us over the years that they've captured things in windows, looking out. We were never fortunate enough prior to this investigation to get any of those interactions where we would see things in windows. So we were kind of just bitching at each other about it on the way there.
I think, ironically, on top of that, this is one of those photos we just tossed up on our social media, and this like spurred a whole new side of what we do, because we started doing some live stuff. We started sharing things in the moment because we didn't see anything in this picture. Not at first. It wasn't until we put something up on social media where someone picked it out and they were like, "Did you guys look at this closely, carefully? Like, did you zoom in on every little area?" Which I do now, but it was actually really cool to get somebody else to get their eyes on it and point it out to us. And I think I know we have some that are zoomed in here, but John, I don't know if you see anything here or not.
Let me get a good look. Sorry, I was trying to share. I had
No,
people asking me for the link to join us, so I was sending it to
no,
them.
You're good. It's okay. We're used to being ignored when we talk about this stuff.
No. I'm not ignoring.
I know. I'm just joking. I'm joking.
I was trying to multitask. This one window up here, there's like a little white object. The window to my left, the really dark one, but
which one?
So
like this one here?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that's exactly what the the viewers on Instagram had pointed out was, this anomaly here. So this location does have a history of child spirits, as well as, so this is just zoomed in on that same picture. There was children that were located in this area, and this is exactly what they were pointing out to us.
Good God, that head, arm, shoulder, torso. Looks like the head's floating. That's a little spooky.
Yeah. There's panes to this window as well.
Okay, okay, cool. Because I would probably scream and cry as a headless child was walking towards me.
Yeah,
so the next time we went back as well, I tried to debunk this a little bit and just see if there was anything with a flare or anything kind of reflecting off of this. And I don't have it in this file, but if you go on the website, I do actually have, on our return trip, the exact same picture with nothing in that window. So that was kind of another cool moment where it was like, this kind of confirms that we were seeing something there.
Yeah, because I've always viewed the whole, I seen that thing in the window as it's credible evidence, but how credible is it? Because glass does reflect light, it does reflect objects. could your eyes just be playing a trick on you? Could it be debunked? You know,
Sure.
it leaves it to me. The whole window ghost thing is leaves too many question marks. But when you go back and you position the camera in the same place with the same amount of light and everything, and that's not there.
So one of the kind of to that point, one of the things that we like to do, and one of the questions that's asked a lot is, the difference between daytime and nighttime.
Mm-hmm.
Daytime, there's less interference, so you have the sun shining on that. You could
Yeah.
get a direct reflection, and then you have the lens flare, and then you have a lot of other things to worry about with that. But with this, it's nighttime. You have no you don't have that interference, like, no, there's no difference between day and night, but all this extra crap that all the extra interference and issues that you run into, that's kind of like why we like to do things at night. But so this was taken at night, and you can see there's no reflection. There's not defending it, because there's always a way to debunk things if you really dig into it. Like, it could be something inside the window, it could be a curtain, it could be, I don't know. But the difference between the day and the night, the day, you're going to get a direct lens, like a lens flare or reflection off of that. To your point with the windows, I see pictures all the time where you have the sun bouncing off of something. It's like, oh, I caught something. Like, no, that's the sun. I'm a part of all these groups, and it's frustrating as shit whenever you see these things, and it's like, no, you didn't actually catch anything. That's the sun. That's a reflection. That's a window. That's your flash. But exactly what you were talking about. Those are so easy to be debunked that we like to just avoid that altogether.
But I'm
Yeah,
sitting here and there's eyes. You could clearly, I mean, I ain't got perfect vision by no stretch of the imagination. I should have my glasses on right now, but there's eyes, there's a nose, or what looks to be like, the chin, mouth area. Then the head's detached for whatever spooky ass reason. And then shoulders, arm, and just the torso. It's just,
Yeah, that was one that we wish we would have seen in the moment, because again, just like with that mist, we would have tried to take several pictures to see if we could rule anything out on those. But like Derek said, we did go back. Is it exactly the same angle? Is it exactly the same environment? No, it's not going to be. But just thought it was an interesting one to have for discussion for this talk.
and it could also, I mean, I wouldn't rule it out because of the height of where the head is compared to this torso. Could it be two entities standing by that window? One a
I'm
child
actually
and
glad you said that, because that was my thought. My thought is that there are two there, and those are both almost heads, as you would see. One is looking over top of the other one. So that was actually my gut instinct whenever I first saw this, is that there are two there.
almost like a protective parent staring out the window, and the
Well,
child's just
this location, actually, they had servants, and back in that time, the servants would have been just as protective of the children, as the parents would have been. So yeah, I mean, if that's an area which is said to be haunted by a child, why wouldn't there be somebody there protecting them, watching over the house? So my original thought when I saw this is there's two there. That was my thinking, but you could interpret this any way you want, and that's part of the issue with some of these things and with the paranormal field in general. But
yeah.
I'm glad that you said that, because that is how I saw it.
Well, I'm just seeing the height difference, and it's like, okay, well, if this is a kid and they either got a really long neck issue going on, or the terrifying thing is their head's just spinning around and floating above their body, or it's two people standing there. I would hope it's two people, because like I said, I'm not big on kid ghosts, especially one with a floating head and, coming at me going, "Help me, sir. No." And just take off running. But
Well, so to move into our second trip here, there is a woman in white that is supposed to be seen.
What a
And
segue.
and
What a segue, my friend.
Oh
So
yeah.
I don't, again, something that we did not see in the moment. This is something that we were up in the tower, we were snapping some pictures. All of a sudden, I'm looking through the pictures and nothing, 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 a lot of dark, and then this. Like, how does a reflection produce that? You know what I mean? Like, there were a lot of things that time that we weren't experiencing. Our first time was, I think, and again, yeah, Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe our first time was a lot more active than the return trip.
It was different areas were
Communication,
active. Yes.
communication wise, like we had
Yeah.
full conversations and communications with the spirit box the first time we were there. The
Yeah. And
return, I think there was more things like this,
this
pictures,
is
clear
full.
images.
This is full body. There's
Yeah.
no, because here, I mean, I know you guys can't see my cursor, you
Oh,
guys watching,
I can
and
see Dan's. I don't know.
yeah, this is
so
mine.
Okay.
okay, so if you look clearly, here's the hair. It's draped over her shoulder, down over her breast area, and all that, and then down her back. Then you look, there's the shoulder line, puffy sleeves, which was very much the style and whatever this I would say probably 1800s maybe.
Hmm.
They had the
Yeah.
puffy sleeves on the nightgowns. The nightgown, of course, goes all the way down to the feet, which was also the style in that time period. And it almost looks like the head's tilted and kind of down, like it's looking at the floor.
Hmm. Yeah. So that apparition, the full body apparition of the woman in white, like Derek was saying, that is a common theme from people that work at this location from a historical standpoint, as well as from their paranormal team that sets up shop there, as well as just visitors to the house, taking the tours of the area. The woman in white is somebody that has been seen by many different people at that location.
She's kind of got that whole grudge thing going
She
on. I
does,
mean,
doesn't she?
yeah, not, I mean, I ain't trying to
At
be
first
funny at
glance, it
all,
looks
but
like the ring kind of,
yeah,
like she's climbing out of the well.
Yep.
like you got some Ju-on action going on there or something. Yeah, that's just creepy because the whole head area is just blacked out. Of course, you can just see the hair, so it's like,
Mhm.
okay, is the hair just draped over the face too?
Hmm.
But the nightgown itself is just so nightgown or dress or whatever. It's just so well defined. Like you see the puffiness of the sleeves and the
Well, so I believe there's a few different stories about this woman. This is supposedly the matron of the house who had waited a long time for her mansion to be built and was barely had a chance to live there. And when she did die, her body was actually laid out in the parlor on the first floor in a white flowing dress. So whether it's her in a nightgown just living there, whether it's her still in her funeral dress, I mean, those are the kind of stories that have stuck with the place and things that have
yeah,
been passed down. But so I mean, you can kind of see either way.
yeah. I mean, I could see that too because yeah, even back then, the style of dresses and nightgowns both were frilly and
Mhm.
puffy and
And the long flowing, like,
yeah, that's like super spooky, but cool. I mean, it's things like that that I wouldn't run from, of course, I wouldn't like Zoink Scoob and run out of there.
well, this is another one of those things. Like when I'm taking these things on just my flash camera, we typically don't get a chance to really review them until I put them in the computer and put everything up there. The only time we really see something is if we catch it in a like a phone picture or something, which we
Mhm,
have done, which we've done at what was one of the recent ones with Rachel's place. We were
Hmm.
we were just walking and taking a picture. But anyway, it isn't something that when you're snapping these pictures, you really get a chance to go back and review, not in a one night investigation like that.
Right, exactly. Exactly. So we're long story short, we're going to be going back to this location at some point, and we're going to check this out and do a little bit, a little bit deeper of a dive into this specific area. See if we can find her again, or at least start putting names to her. Now that we've seen her or what we believe is her, can we get more information out of this entity in some way?
I almost got that. I hate it's so cliche. But at the first, the Ghostbusters, the librarian downstairs.
That's exactly what that looks like.
Yeah. Yep. Just don't go, Ray, get her. And,
on our very first investigation, we might have been able to do that, but my brother hasn't come back.
Yeah, we had a lot of people on our first ever investigation before we had a name and before we had all the equipment. There were a lot of people on that investigation with us, and none of them have been back. So take that for what you will, but stuff is very polarizing. Either you love it or you hate it, kind of thing.
Like I was telling Derek the last time we did the live stream, I'm not scared of this stuff. I'm not. Yeah, I'll joke, and yes, of course, if it's a negative entity, I'm not going to sit around and hang out with it. But of course not. I'm not going to run towards it. Now I know, Dan, you said Derek does that, so touche, sir. But I'm not going to do that. But it intrigues me, and yeah, I want to talk to it and be like, okay, what's it like on the other side? Is it cool, or is it kind of suck? Give me the skinny on it.
Yeah, and that's how you find answers to things. Is you have to have a healthy passion for going that step further, rather than just noping the hell out once you get the picture or once you have the interaction. Like sticking around and actually trying to put a name to it, or just get further interactions to verify what you've found. I mean, that's what we do, and that's
also, I think, why we work so well together, because we kind of push each other towards those things. Like there's moments where, one of us will want to, like get out of there. We feel uncomfortable, and the other's like, wait a second, if you're feeling uncomfortable, if you're feeling something strange, maybe we should keep going here. So it usually ends up working out to our benefit, that something like that happens. But we also always have each other's backs when it comes to this thing. And if we see that something's affecting us negatively, then it's like, all right, we've had enough. We are bailing. We are getting out of here.
Well, it's the ultimate question, and they are the ones that have the answer.
Yep.
It's the ultimate question that has been asked throughout history of what's after this life.
Mm-hmm.
And
every culture, every era, every age. I mean, you're right. It's everyone. Everyone wants to know.
And here I was thinking you just did it for me because I was cute, Derek. I didn't realize we had all that. So that's good to know. That's good to know. Okay, so now
maybe one day you will find that one spirit that'll be like,
on camera.
So you really want to know?
Yeah, do you really want to know? Sorry, I'm plugging my computer in here.
No, okay. No worries.
So we're gonna this next picture is something that.
Wait, are you gonna segue into the other hidden Marietta?
What? What? Okay, yeah, I can do that. Sorry.
I thought you were gonna make one of your plays for them.
No, I do that so much. No, okay, so here, this is the next hidden Marietta one.
Hey, okay. Easter egg hunt.
Yeah.
So we've actually showed this picture to a few different people, and there's one thing that stands out pretty much predominantly, whereas other people have started to see other things in this picture. Now, just to give you a little bit of a, what happened here. We were out in this wooded area here. This is an overnight camping expedition, if you will, on this island that rests between Ohio and West Virginia. And we were just walking back. We lost Dan.
Yeah, he said he was plugging his computer in.
Yeah, he probably died. So I think I can share my screen if you want.
Yeah, you can, or I can do it on my end.
I mean, if you have that file up, I mean, I can just kind of guide you to it.
There he is.
Oh, he's back.
Sorry about that. clicked the button. My apologies. My apologies.
You gotta share again now, Dan.
I'm doing it.
But so some other people have started to pick out other things here, but we were just back there. We started hearing footsteps in the leaves. I mean, you can clearly see that it's fall. Trees are bare. Leaves are on the ground. We started to hear some footsteps, and so I just turned and I started snapping pictures. Like, hey, something's here. I'm going to catch it. And in this area, it's very heavy with Native American influence. They use this as a burial ground, as a hunting ground, and one of the more predominant figures that has been seen and said to be there is what is called. I always get this wrong, Dan. It's a watcher, right?
The Watcher, yes, sir.
Watcher. Okay, I think I've said walker in the past, but yeah, watcher. So these watchers will basically just walk the island and make sure that the land is respected and cared for, and no one's doing anything stupid, or they protect their land still to this day. And I think, and John, you take a look at this and tell me what you see, but we've started to get feedback from some people that have seen quite a few things in this picture.
Hey, Michelle. Give her a shout out.
Hello, Michelle.
Hope you're feeling better. She's been under the weather herself. Okay,
She's got the Rona too, huh?
Oh, jeez.
She said her test came back negative, thank God.
Well, that's good.
Don't be starting rumors, Derek.
For the record, she does not have it, everyone.
I retract my last statement. I can't make out anything, but that's probably
okay.
Hold
No,
on.
it's fine.
No, that's fair. So we're going to zoom in directly onto it.
Let old Pop put his glasses on real quick.
So I zoomed in on specifically the area that the thing is that we called out originally. Yep. Good moving. So in this area, this is a road that goes back to the mansion on the island. This is a tree, obviously. This is a tree. This entity right here is what we're looking at.
Oh, yeah. Now that I got my eyes on, I can... Oh, yeah. Because it looks like a leg kind of sticking out.
Look above that.
Yeah, almost looks like it's walking from out behind the tree. It's like it's in a stride almost.
Yeah, and look at the face up here.
The hell?
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that sentiment.
Yo, dude, what? You got one dude down here walking and another one's up there just playing in the trees or something?
I don't think so.
We think it's all... Yeah. So this figure, to put a scale to it, from the ground to the top of its head, fits perfectly in line with the information that is given to us from the paranormal team and the historical team that do things on this island, that said that these entities, these watchers, are approximately 8 feet tall. And that is exactly what the scaling is on this figure. So from the ground here to the top of its head is about 8 feet. We measured that based off of this nodule here, like this knot on this tree that's sticking out. That was kind of our point where we looked back and measured it. So it's about 8 feet. So it fits the lore on this island for the Watcher.
Yeah, I agree, Michelle. That is tall as heck. Hell no.
Yeah, and that's exactly how the stories go. That's what they tell us, that these watchers aren't necessarily the Native Americans themselves, but the spirits that the Native Americans had tapped into.
Yeah, like the forest spirits and different things.
Yep.
So that's not a spirit that I would want to get into it with, in a dark alley somewhere.
No, but at the same time, I don't think that we felt negative at all. We never really have on that island. It almost gives you a sense of security. Like we're being respectful. They're not going to let anything happen to their island, but we're also not either. So it's almost like we're on the same team here. You know?
Well, that's exactly it. We don't Zach Baggins it and call the ghosts out, you know what I mean, and like flash our tattoos and scream at them and tell them they're idiots and or anything. Like we're respectful, so I think that we are given the same interaction in return.
That thing's big, so why would you want to call it out? Number
Well,
one,
that's exactly right.
Yeah, that's like
For the views.
Yeah, it's like Andre the Giant standing there. Well, views are good unless you're dead.
That's true. That's very true.
It's like tonight on Ghost Adventures, Zach died.
Okay, I'll watch that one.
I would too, actually.
Series finale.
All right, Derek.
Well, I mean, growing up, like I was telling you all in the podcast episode, I had the the very religious background with my grandparents and stuff. There was missionaries from the Mormon church back home in here, and there was this old story that went around, and it kind of relates to this, but it doesn't. But I guess they went to this apartment to, because they go around, they're trying to spread the word and all that. So they went to this one apartment, and just so happened that there was a serial killer that lived in this apartment.
Jesus.
And supposedly anybody that ever came to his place or whatever, never seen again, except for the 2 female missionaries that came by to hand him off some stuff. And supposedly in his questioning, when he was asked why he didn't attack those girls, he said that they had these 2 giant men standing behind them, which was attributed to guardian angels.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
But nobody else saw it but him.
Huh.
I don't know. It's just an old story that floated around back home about some of the Mormon missionaries. So Michelle says, I tune into that episode too. Yeah, what Zach getting ganked. Yeah.
Next episode, Zach dies.
The fans want to see it.
Zach takes it too far.
Doesn't he always?
He becomes a ghost.
Gets sucked off into the void. Pause.
All right, so now we're going to go to a picture it's actually a picture of another piece of equipment that we use. That is the screenshot from our SLS camera. This is on a high school that is still in operation today in our area. This is our SLS camera.
This is one of the first times we used it too.
Yeah, so SLS cameras are, previously of Xbox fame, just the Kinect sensor from the Xbox that has some developer software that Microsoft published so that their developers or video game developers could use their hardware in the Kinect to create video games. So there is a way that you can, put those on a laptop computer with the free software from the internet and carry the damn Kinect around with you, and it will map out infrared signatures, not necessarily visual sensors, but it's based on infrared is what it's seeing. So in theory, this device is able to map human shape from what it sees on the infrared spectrum rather than the visual. So in this instance, we were getting some interactions with a child spirit, we believe, on the back side of the stage where the band and chorus room are located. We were, just walking around and specifically in this area, we were having, communications with this entity. So we brought out the SLS. We have to be careful with these things because SLS cameras, they sometimes take a square and map a human figure on it. We don't know why it does that, but it does that. That is a known issue with using an SLS camera. So we have to look at specifically what is happening. Can we interact with this figure that it's mapping, or should we rule that out as being a chair, or should we rule that out as being a chalkboard?
So since this point, we have kind of figured out a few things that would help alleviate these issues. Like if I'm holding the camera and Dan's sitting there, I ask him to raise his arm or stand up or sit down. And when he makes these movements, if it's simply mapping the chair next to him or a statue that's beside him, then it will basically flicker out. Like it will focus more on him rather than that object. So we didn't know it at this point, but since this time, we have kind of learned some of those nuances that go with it. And just in case anyone's wondering, it's starting to snow here. So.
Well,
Yeah, it is.
That's a kid in that chair to the left, I would say.
Yeah, and following this picture that was taken, the reason I'm sitting in the chair is I was trying to interact with whatever it was, you know, and I don't know if
getting
you've
down
ever,
to his level, like
correct. I'm trying to see if it will interact with me the way that I am interacting with it. So at one point, I reach over towards that chair, and I felt a noticeably colder spot closer to the chair that I got, and I told it whatever it was. I said, I'm not somebody to be afraid of. We are not here to harm you. You can feel safe with us. Please interact with us a little bit more. And we actually got this figure to, I slid the chair closer to the little boy or little girl. And
I think it was a boy.
It was a boy.
I think we got names that were kind of combined some things from the area, and we got that this was a little boy.
But it actually laid its head on my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of a comforting moment, when we love having those interactions. If we can make the spirits feel like they're, not being attacked or anything, that's always a good thing for us. But yeah, we interacted with this spirit for quite some time before it decided to move on. But this is definitely an interesting capture for us.
See, man, you're gonna hit me in the feels with stuff like that, man. That stuff like that's sad to me, dude. Because of course, this kid. Yeah, I mean, what is time to them, really? Because we don't know. But
yeah.
Well, there's a combination here too, because it's sad, but it's also comforting. It's knowing that we're here to talk to them, and if they want to play with some of our toys and light up some of our stuff, then hey, then we're providing them a service. We're letting them play and still be kids. And we've actually come across that quite a few times, where it's been kids, and if we don't catch it on camera or record it or whatever, we have that experience and knowledge that hey, we felt and interacted with a child, and now that we both have kids, it's like, okay, we can kind of understand and acknowledge how important something like that is.
Yeah, because me personally, I would probably keep going back to that place because I'd be like, well, I'm the comforting person for this child, so I'm going to keep coming back here. I get it, you probably can't, but
yeah.
Well, the nice thing to know too, it's a high school, so you got a lot of kids coming and going as it is. So if this truly is a child, they have a lot of people that they can just kind of sit and watch and listen to and interact with if possible.
Yeah, but you and Dan have been like the one that acknowledged he was there, though. That's the thing.
Right.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Just that knowing that we could see him and that we wanted to comfort him, I think was a big deal.
I mean, I could be there all day and see hundreds of kids walking by me, and they're just walking through me and everything else.
Well,
but not knowing I'm there, that's got to be a lonely existence. I mean, just
to that point, though. I mean, we also you remember before I was talking about how some of those areas talk about demonic or evil things. In the basement of one of the places that we went to, the Twin City Opera House.
That's where I was going next. Good segue. Segue.
And this is why you two work together.
And been friends since what, 5th grade?
Way too long, Derek. Way too long.
So this area, there's something more negative that's said to exist in this basement. And from our experiences, our communication, we actually came across a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
In our experience and our feelings and our, you know, we just felt that there was a little girl here. And I think this one, again, you see Dan sitting, you know, kind of take the same route, but it almost is the same. Well, that's true too.
I love sitting.
But I do think that there's a lot of it makes sense when it comes down to it. If you're trying to communicate with a child, you know, getting to their level.
Yeah.
And
so what
he
do we?
did the exact same thing here.
It was sometimes sitting too is a comforting thing because it's because you're relaxing. It lets whatever else, real or not real, or I should say, well, ghost or person, probably lets them know, okay, well, this guy's not super aggro or anything like that.
And so what's happening in this picture? So this picture is, we were in the basement of the Twin City Opera House, like Derek explained. We were getting some fairly intriguing flashlight evidence where...
Yeah, that was actually one of the better moments that we had with the flashlights.
Yeah, we had 2 mini mag lights set up where you turn the head of the flashlight to turn it on and off. So we set it to where it takes a very gentle touch to turn it on and off, so that spirits can interact with those. And we were getting some very intriguing evidence in this basement with multiple flashlights that we had, one set up next to us, one set up to our left by an old chair that was actually in the basement that belonged to this child spirit's good friend's mother when it was living. So the spirit had a tie to this chair to some extent. And there's a third one on the opposite side of the basement area. That third one never went off, but the one beside us and over by the chair was going on and off to get our attention. And we had asked it, and you know, as soon as we figured out we're dealing with a kid here, just through some of the questions that we were asking and the history of the location and things, you know, we immediately went into dad mode. You know, I didn't have a kid at this point, so it was, you know, it was a lot of fun for both of us, where we're talking to this child and we are trying to communicate on a level they understand. So we're like, awesome job, you know, thank you so much for touching on the light. I would really love to see if you want to play a game, you know. So we asked it, do you want to run and really, really quickly, like, go over there and turn that light on over there? And not a second later, that light on the opposite side of the basement turned on. You know, so when we were getting those kinds of interactions where we would play these games and then we would have it come running back over towards us and turn the flashlight off beside us, it was doing that as well. So then we break out the bigger guns with a pendulum that we were starting to use at this location. We've used it more often and we're getting some really good experiences with it. So I am zoning out here. Derek's running the camera and I am using a pendulum. So my left hand is holding the pendulum. Yeah, the left hand is holding the pendulum. The right hand is underneath the pendulum so that I could stop and start it in order to ask questions. So we do this technique where, and it's not, you know, unique to us by any means, where we tell whatever we're speaking with to move the pendulum in one way. Doesn't matter which way it is, just pick a way for yes, and then I'll stop the pendulum. If once it starts moving, I say thank you, stop the pendulum, and I say, okay, that's your yes, and now push it another way, a different way, to signify an answer of no. So it'll push it a different way, and you'll see the pendulum start to swing when something's interacting. So we were doing that in this location, again, with this child, and while the pendulum was being swung to respond to questions, Derek was running the SLS and picked up this small child-like figure that is actually, you can see, is reaching out and pushing that pendulum to answer our questions.
We got lucky here because that's not a typical, like, we don't typically run things like this at the same time.
Correct.
Usually it's more like, I'm just recording the pendulum so we can later look back and see, if this definitely was moving this direction, if this was moving this direction, and we can kind of put together a conversation. So I think that we kind of got lucky here running the SLS at the same time and being able to capture it all at the same moment. So I thought that was actually a very, very cool and intriguing moment for us, especially kind of flipping the story on them, on the myths of this location, of something being dark and, I don't want to say demonic by any means, but it's nice to see that that's more of a light, airy, a child, and we had actually at one moment had something thrown at us, and I think it was actually this child trying to get our attention, and that was, it's unnerving to one extent to know that there's this child sitting there, but on the other hand, it's a calming experience when you're able to talk to them and actually interact with them and then see it, visually see it. And I think that's just extremely rewarding on some of the things that we do.
Sassy teenager throwing stuff at y'all.
It's very
and
possible.
It's always, I want it to be known that nothing has ever thrown anything at me. It's always at Derek.
That's very true, and we've talked about that in the past too. I don't know why. Dan probably can elaborate on that, but
there's Luke.
That might be a story for another time.
Yeah.
There's Luke, my ever God, I can't even talk. My co-host is normally on the podcast. He said those goddamn ghost billies. Billies is a term that we use for small children that come in the comic book stores and tear up everything.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like a term of endearment.
There you go. I was thinking it was a misspell of bully, so that's better.
Nope, we call them billies. And then
I like that.
The man child, the grown man children, we call them Lees. Billies and Lees.
I like it. All right, so if we're good there, I want to move on to get into some of our work and some of the evidence that we've captured on our thermal imaging camera, our FLIR.
This is probably one of my favorite tools to use.
Yeah, Derek gets a lot of good stuff on this FLIR camera. So Derek, where do you want to start on this guy?
So, you're more than welcome to pull up the Gill House once again. We did cover this last time, but I know you love that one.
I do, but I don't want to drag it out. If you guys have already talked about it, I don't want to get back into it because we're on a limited time schedule here.
We did talk about Blennerhassett, so you can feel free to jump into that one with the handprint on the tree.
Okay, cool.
That seems like it's always a good one to jump into.
Yep. So
Dan was not at this one. But at one of at the rear of the island, there is a torn down house. And maybe, Dan, you can elaborate, though, when you were there by yourself without me. You got some communication back there about this. There's stories about the owners of this house torturing and being extremely cruel to some of the slaves on this island. And I believe that Dan had made a comment when I was not there that, just asking, was this you that did this to these slaves? Did you treat them badly? And he got some feedback there. And if you want to elaborate on that, Dan, then I can jump into this one.
No, so we were doing some dowsing rod sessions at the location, and whenever we would bring up the question of, were you being abusive towards your slaves, or were you treating them, like less of humans or anything along those lines, we would very severely get a response on the dowsing rods where because we use cross crossing the dowsing rods for yes, and then opening them further apart from each other for a no response. This whatever was speaking with us or whoever was speaking with us was throwing these rods apart. When we would bring up the question of mistreatment of slaves on his land, so this entity or whatever was throwing them open. So that response is very rare, especially using dowsing rods. They're usually a very finicky type tool where very slight changes will happen, but when something throws them open like that, we expect that to be a pretty severe response.
So that's very, a very emphatic no, but there's a lot of pain and anger there in that too, just from that action.
So after that, I believe that I went back, what was it, Dan? A month later, 2 months later, something like that?
About a month. Yeah, about a month or so, yeah.
And I built upon that, and we continued to ask questions, and I did get some verbal communication of this where, so these events are actually, that are run by Hidden Marietta, are actually public. So we would have people, we had no idea who they were, but we would include them in the conversations and the investigations, show them how to use the tools and let them kind of participate. And even some of these people that are sitting around can clearly hear, at least from my perspective, they could hear and tell me, like, I heard this, I heard that, and I had asked the same questions that Dan did, and we heard, like, no, not me, or a clear what, like, what are you talking about? So I kind of walked away. This group kind of took control, and I'm okay with that because I'm not the talker. That's usually left for Dan. So when this group just starts to go with it, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to take some pictures. I'm going to take some video, whatever. So I walk away. I let them keep talking. There were a few moments where we saw the flashlight go off. I mean, everybody, the whole group of probably 12 people, saw this flashlight go off out of nowhere. So I start moving my way towards that, and I just start taking a bunch of pictures, and then I take some clear pictures, and then I came across this. And typically, so this is a tree, and typically with these FLIR images, you're looking at blue as a cold, the reds, the yellows, all as a warm color. There was nobody back here at all. But one of the more intriguing moments is looking at this picture and seeing a handprint of something that's warm. There's nobody there. And I mean, this definitely leads into some of our other investigations where some of the people have actually been feeling more hot spots than cold. So it kind of circles back to this where it's like, wait a second, there actually might be something here.
And they were totally leaning on this tree. I mean, just from
well,
that.
It looks like leaning on it and then pushing off.
Yeah.
That's how it seems to me with that handprint, the way that it is. But there was nobody there. So that was one of our better moments here, but very questionable because, like, what the hell is this, or what could this be? But you look at that, that's a clear handprint.
Yeah, and it warrants a further look, and that's why you'll see in our, on our blog, on our website, on our social media accounts, there are locations that we go back to multiple times because, when we're reviewing the evidence, we're finding things that just lead to more questions than answers. So we want to go back to those locations and we want to look in specifically into, this instance just per se, what is this hand? Who put it there? Why was it there? Those kind of questions. Now we want to go find out more.
I've dealt with thermal stuff when I was in the military, and normally when you see anything like that, especially like if I put my hand down on something when I had thermals on, that's fresh. That just happened.
Right. And so I actually had followed a flashlight to that spot, like when a flashlight had just popped on, like kind of like what Dan was saying with Twin City. It turned on, and the group was going with communication, so I just kind of started going. I started walking towards the flashlight and just taking a bunch of pictures. And I guarantee and I can test that no one was around that area. Like, it was kind of a distance away. Everyone was sitting at this picnic table. And I know that the group of Hidden Marietta, there were 2 members there that were sitting with me, and I know for a fact that they will agree that there was nobody back there. But why warm? You know, why? It's just usually you look for the cold spots, right? I mean, that's just kind of what you look for. And we have proven that a few times where our pictures will show cold spots. It'll show green, it'll show blue, not red, not yellow. Usually you can immediately detect that somebody else is there if you see those colors. So that's one of the more, I want to say, intriguing ones.
Well, and to piggy off that, right? So this next one I'm going to put up here. This is another FLIR where we got that interaction that we would expect with colder, colder signature on the FLIR versus something else. So this was at Mount Savage Bed and Breakfast in Maryland.
What do you see though, John? If you look at this, I mean, after Dan leads into this a little bit, don't tell him what we saw, Dan, but see what he sees.
Okay.
I clearly see some footprints on the floor, but that could very well be Dan or Derek. It could be your footprints, obviously. But
so just to kind of give you an idea of what was going on when this was taken. So this is myself standing to the left. Derek is actually behind the camera, and then the third person was actually my younger sister that went with us on this to this location.
And I believe the owner was sitting on the bed at the time, right?
Yeah, she was back behind us. So this pink area up in here with this lighter blue, this area here is actually a stairwell that goes downstairs, and we had some equipment at the top of the steps and we had some equipment at the bottom of the steps to try to see if we could find anything that was, traveling, using that area to travel from location to location, to see if we get hits at the bottom and at the top. So what we had was we were chasing something. Something would go downstairs, light up our REM pod, light up our K2 meter, and then we'd freak out and would run downstairs and try to find whatever that was, and we'd try to talk to it and we'd get nothing, and everything would stop doing that. But then as soon as we were downstairs trying to talk to it, the stuff upstairs would go off, at the top of the steps. So then we'd run upstairs and we'd try to figure out what was up there, and then we weren't getting any responses. So all of these attempts, we weren't getting any intelligent response. We were getting no response at all. As soon as we started to inquire into what the heck it was, we got nothing. So it was whatever it was, we were like, oh, it's just messing with us. Like, it's playing with us. Like, it doesn't want to talk. And then we saw these whatevers, in this thermal that, again, we didn't necessarily know too much about until the owner had said that the gentleman that built this location, was a huge fan of German Shepherd dogs, and that he has pictured numerous times throughout history with his 2 large German Shepherds that he always had with him. So we believe that the interaction that we had was possibly with one of the ghost dogs in this area that was just playing with our stuff. It obviously can't answer questions, but it was just trying to, see what was going on with things. It was running back and forth. Or play with us. Or play with us, yes.
You look at the floor there, and you can see the reflection. And we have played with those kind of debunking scenarios before. So where Dan's standing, you can see the clear red and yellow, and on the floor right below him is his reflection. Yep. So that would be a reflection on a wooden floor. To the right of that, there are 4 footprints. If you combine this with the stories, to us, it tells us, combined with our experiences of something that kept going on and off, that this was actually one of the previous owner's dogs.
And I wish...
Look at how uniform that is, because that's not footsteps. Footsteps, are offset from one another.
Correct.
And I wish we had the comparison pictures, because this is another one where we, took a picture at another time to see if we could replicate it, and those are not there in that picture taken shortly after. So it was an interesting capture that we wanted to share and see what you thought.
Yeah, it's almost like the dog's just standing there like, hey guys, what's up? Hey,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Yeah.
And it's almost like standing in the group of us. You know
Mhm.
how a dog usually will if there's a group of
Yeah,
people. They're standing right in the
curious.
middle of attention,
Mhm.
Well, at least it was playful. I mean,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, it didn't like rip one of us apart.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Yeah. Okay, and
Yeah.
then I want to show one more thermal on this one. So Derek, go ahead and tell us about this one. This one's got a cool history, Madison Seminary.
So Madison, this is one where it was a working seminary. It had transitioned once they lost their funding into a mental hospital, and the mental hospital would accommodate as many beds as they possibly could in these open floor plans. And there were a lot of deaths, by the way, at this location. There was an entire cemetery that we didn't even venture back to. I mean, of unmarked graves. And here we had actually taken one of our junior investigators, actually, that we had that we kind of brought along at the time because he was a sensitive like Dan. We went into this doctor's office and we just kind of sat there and we talked, and we didn't think we were getting much. We look back through some of these pictures. I believe, Dan, that was your shoulder, the red and yellow.
Yes, that is my giant multicolored body to the right there. Yeah.
But so behind him, and it would have been to the left, is where the doctor's like table, like the rollout table would have been, was situated. And in this area, there's been a lot of footsteps heard. There's been a lot of banging noises heard. I don't know, John, what you think you would see here, but we thought this was one of our better thermal image captures, just mainly because of the color differences.
Yeah, that's clearly it looks like a person standing back there almost doing like the Blair Witch Project type thing facing the corner. I mean, that's the vibe I get. Like, they're just waiting for Rustin Parr to show up and clock him in the back of the head.
So, yeah, I mean,
because if that was a real person, it would have the hot spots that Dan has. This is nothing. This is not even registering.
That's actually one of the nice things that we have here is a comparison. Is the hot spot of Dan, of the outline of Dan, and you compare that to the dark blue, purple hues that you have behind him. So you can actually clearly compare those. And if you see that full outline, I mean, what I'm thinking here is a doctor actually.
Yeah.
You see like almost the, I don't want to say gown, but the
like a coat, like a lab coat almost.
Yeah, the lab coat. Maybe some blue jeans. Well, of course, that's from the cold. But I was like, yeah, blue jeans.
Right.
Hey, he could be an informal doctor. We don't know.
Yeah, it could be Doogie Howser.
We have proof of ghost Doogie Howser. Perfect. I love it.
We love you, Neil Patrick Harris.
Take that, Zach Baggins. Look it up. All right.
I mean, it is creepy though, because the way it's just standing there, like facing the corner type deal, almost to me.
Right.
I don't know. I watched way too much Blair Witch back in the day.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I'm glad you weren't there telling us that that's what you thought it was, because that would creep me out even more than a doctor.
So actually, I had just recently tossed some more. Dan, if you go back to just the main screen of the best ghost stuff,
yes, sir.
You can actually see, or maybe it was the pictures that I tossed in. There was a little bit more SLS from After Hours. There are recent ones. So you can actually see there. Yeah, if you pull those three are actually probably some of our more intriguing captures there. kind of referencing some of those comments about, lift your arm or, move. This SLS was John, the owner, who we had
I
just
wasn't
standing
there.
there. Not you. But we just had him standing there, and I think at one moment I told him to move his arm. And just to verify that image.
Right,
and as he moved his arm, whatever that was in the SLS actually moved with him. At this moment, kind of, to circle back, he said he felt a hot spot, not a cold spot, but a hot spot, basically where he would have been touching that. So that was one of our more, and I mean, all three of us can kind of attest to that time frame and the communication there.
It almost looks like it's shying away from you a little bit too, but that's just, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's
about
hard
that,
to say, I guess, with the SLS.
I mean, John's probably what, Dan, like your height, right? I mean, obviously taller than me. Who isn't?
Yeah, about 6'2". Yeah.
But so whatever that is to hit in the orange color is what, 8-9 feet tall.
Yeah, it's pretty substantial, but it does fit the narrative, which is why we were asked to come into this location. That they had seen a very tall black figure. Again, the tattoo artists at the shop, as well as patrons of the shop. And when I was there for the first time getting a tattoo done, we were actually discussing, we of course got into the fact that we ghost hunt and different things, and the shop owner John is very intrigued by this kinds of stuff. And while we were talking about the entity or the spirit or whatever that is in that location, his tattoo gun stopped working. And he actually had to go back and do a second session with me to get my tattoo finished because his whatever it was interfering with his hardware, with his tattoo machine. So this tall figure has been scaring the crap out of numerous people at that location. So like I said, it fits the mold for what they have seen as this tall, dark figure. And they're believed to be a portal, directly in front of this area. There has been a medium, like this wall here on the left is a mirror. And then there's on this right-hand side that's not pictured, there's another set of mirrors. So there's two, opposing mirror walls. They are, this medium has said, that is a portal to the spirit realm potentially. So who knows what's in there?
So Cindy from, I guess she was at this investigation. She
Cindy.
said she remembers having her hair stroked in the room with the hole in it. And she says that she thinks you all have a FLIR photo of it.
That would have been from Madison. That would have been that doctor.
So that would have been. Is that correct, Cindy? Because Cindy was not at the tattoo shop with us, but she was at Madison with us. So maybe possibly talking about that one.
Yeah, maybe my chat's delayed a little bit.
It's possible.
And maybe that's what she was referencing to, was that last picture.
Yeah, this guy here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Blair Witch.
So, John, so we are a little bit limited with time today. We got another about 20 minutes or so.
Oh, no worries.
So, and we're more than happy to come back for part 3 if you like.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure where you would want to take this next. I mean, we have a few more pictures that are pretty captivating, especially some of the newer stuff, some of the residential pictures that we have. I don't know if you want to go that route, if you want to see some videos, if you want to hear some recordings. I mean, you tell us. We can take it whichever way you want.
I just set up live stream. This is your all show. You all showed me what you want to Look
Dan,
at
you're running it right now. I mean, you're under the pictures. If you want to show the Ohio State stuff, you're right there. If you want to show some videos, we have that Harmony Indoor. I mean, that's
Yeah, I'd like to do some of like a couple of the videos. I want to let's do let's start with the door at Harmony Inn and then go into the North Country Brewery door because I think that's some of our best evidence we've ever
Yeah.
captured that I wanted to hit on this conversation.
go for
So-
it. I'm game there.
Yeah, so this one here, there will not be audio on these. So if you're not, oh, there is. Call me a liar.
There should
is
be,
audio. Okay, this one is. The other one does not. I don't think.
Yeah, I
does it?
think I had it. I finally got it set up to where it'll play the audio.
So you
Okay,
go to
so-
about 27 minutes or so on this one, Dan.
27 minutes.
We basically, so here we set up some stationary cameras. I want to say there was one or two teams that were here previously, and they had actually captured a picture of like a mist moving down the stairs. So we kind of took the opposite approach, and we set up a stationary camera at the top of the steps, looking down at the bottom.
There you go.
I mean, you saw it right there.
Mhm.
So
Yo,
all
what the
that-
hell was that?
that was a door.
Yeah, don't get too excited. That was a door.
Oh.
That was just.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to go back there and play it again, all that. So that was that. There was a. What you're looking at essentially is the foyer for classy people. The stairs go up to a second floor restaurant dining area. That door goes into the bar area, and this is one of those moments. I don't think that we heard the door open or close at all. But looking back through our stationary cameras, you can clearly see the door open and close. Or
Yeah, that's
close,
what
then
caught my attention. I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't see anybody walk around there, and all of a sudden that door
Yeah.
just opened.
there was nobody there.
Yep, and there it is closing. So if you actually listen to right before that closes, you can hear myself and the two gentlemen myself, Derek, and then the third guy that was with us for this investigation.
Oh, you called me a gentleman. That was nice.
Gentlemen, I should know better. But you could hear us talking because we're on the second floor up where this camera is shooting down from. We're up in this area over here in this room. So we were not downstairs at all, and there was nobody else in the building with us when this was happening. I think I missed it.
Yes, you did.
We got to clip this guy down.
Man, I moved the videos in. I'm like, hey, let's just look at this one.
Yeah.
See me, I'd be like, do that again, please do it again.
If we knew that it happened, we would have.
Yeah, so there it is opening, and then you'll hear us. Did you hear us talking right before the door swung shut?
And
Yeah,
that door was shut with some oomph too.
Force,
Was it?
Gusto.
Yep.
Possibly by a drunk ghost. We just have no idea.
What are
We
y'all
like to
doing in my house? Get out of here, leprechauns. It's my bad Barney from Simpsons, everybody.
I like it. I like it. So do you have a timestamp on this one, Derek? Because Prospect Place, the whistling?
You might have to open it to find it.
Isn't
Okay.
Prospect Place a place that's kind of been on some of the paranormal shows too, like Ghost Hunters and stuff
Yes.
like that?
Yes, it
I
has.
think so, yeah. If nothing else, Dan, I can kind of look back at our page and find it.
No, it's no problem. I want to show this one before we run out of time. This North Country Brewery one. So this one,
this might be Dan's favorite one that we've ever
That's
covered.
my favorite. I think I told
you saw that one. I think you commented on it, John.
Yeah, you see a head or something in that room.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, there's something that walks through that door when it opens it up. So the people that haven't been exposed to this video previously, this was one of our recent investigations a little over a month ago in December. This is on a trail camera. actually, that is set up in the bar area.
So to
And
elaborate on that, we've got away from the running the cables because that takes hours.
yeah, it's a pain
So
in the butt.
we've just been setting up trail cams kind of all over the place and letting them run.
And for
And this
those
was
of you
one of
that
our
don't know
first
what
goes at it.
for those of you that don't know what a trail camera is, it's a camera that a lot of hunters and outdoorsmen use so they can monitor, deer or any other animal's movement, so they'll know, okay, where's the perfect spot to go hunting at, kind of deal.
Exactly. And we use it to hunt ghosts.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they work really well for the paranormal, actually.
They apparently do. They are infrared, which is nice for us since things are dark. And the nice thing about cameras, whenever Derek's reviewing the evidence, he doesn't have to look at hours worth of videos to see that one little movement. It triggers at the cameras that we have trigger at 0.1 seconds of movement. It will trigger. So with this location, there is a stairwell that comes up over on the right-hand side behind this set of tables. There's a stairwell that comes up from the first floor. This area over here, this door that is going to be opening and closing, that goes over like back to the manager's office as well as down to the kitchen. And then this area over here is like a hallway that goes back over towards another dining area. So in the 0.1 seconds that of movement that this trail camera would have to see movement for it to initiate the recording, it would obviously take more than 0.1 second to go from this area over to this door that's probably about 12 feet away. Or it would also, if somebody came through this door and opened it to come in to stand behind this chair and then go back the other way, it would have triggered on that as well, which it did not trigger on anything besides this movement.
And to that note, if you watch all the way to the end of the video, you can actually see one of the girls that stayed with us. She's walking up the steps. And if you compare her to whatever's in that door,
you can kind of see her right
there's
there.
some detail there. But in the door, there's zero detail to whatever that is.
So where you paused it, okay, when it opens.
Yes, sir.
Any of y'all watching the live stream, I want you to focus in when that door opens. Tell me that there isn't the head of somebody behind that door.
I believe have a screenshot of that moment if we go back into the pictures. I tried to screenshot it, zoom in a little bit.
That is a person just kind of, it's hard to say back to, front to, or whatever, but that is clearly a head movement.
One other note.
That door.
After we sent this to the girls that were with us, they said, so there's a step up there from where this bar area is back to the kitchen area and in the chef's area. There's actually a step up, which wasn't there previously. So if this was a person, you would see a jump, like a step up. You would see their head kind of jut a little bit. Whereas previously, you just walk straight through the door.
This is not a living person. This is, it's transparent, but it's a head. It's somebody behind that door or going through it, whatever it is. But when I first saw that, just seeing the little picture of it on my phone when I saw y'all post on Instagram, I was like, is that Dan or Derek going into that door? And then when I focused in on it, I was like, no, excuse my language, no fucking way, dude. That's somebody's
I believe we were all downstairs at this point.
Yeah, we were packing up. This is 3:43 in the morning. This is when we called it a night.
So if you look, Dan, if you let it play all the way to the end, maybe pause it whenever I don't even know which of them was coming up at this point.
Yeah, I think that was Jen that came up at the end there.
But she remembered it. Like we
right there.
Yep, she comes up there, and then you can see her head at the very end.
Yeah, so you can kind of see the difference in detail that you can see with her. She's wearing a hood. You can see her the difference in color, and she knows that there was nobody else up there when she went up to kind of take her last rounds to lock up and turn lights off.
Mm-hmm.
Did she react to the door?
No,
No,
she
she had no idea. She had no idea.
Okay. Because they closed that door. I mean, it wasn't just an
well,
easy,
it was
like,
a swinging door.
kid sneaking into the house, is.
Yeah, it's a swinging door. It doesn't
Oh, okay.
end with a hard stop.
Yeah, man, that's a person in that room. I don't know if it's a good person, but there's a person in there.
I'm thinking that's residual because they hear that all the time and they see that door swinging all the time.
That is correct. Do we have that still shot of that head through there to show you how it's?
Should be,
yeah. Right here.
I was pointing to the screen like you would see my hand.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Thanks. So this is the still of whatever that was walking through that door.
See, that's kind of what I did on Instagram, but it wasn't that clear.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way you could zoom in on it there, Dan?
No, I just tried. I see here.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why.
You could probably zoom in like on your screen.
Yeah. Zoom in. I could zoom in on every other freaking picture, but why can't I do it on this one? No, it's not.
If you just do like control and then you're.
That's what I'm trying to do right now, actually.
I'm sure the people watching, they can probably zoom in on it. It's just.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go.
There's no detail to it at all.
No, it's missed, but it clearly moves like a person would move.
So, kind of a funny note to that one. I had sent that to both my brother and sister. My sister kind of helps edit some of our pages because I like to use commas a lot when she goes through and takes them all out. But I sent that to both of them. Like, what do you see? Not giving them anything. And they're like, well, there's a person walking through that door. It's like, all right, well, thank you for giving me that amount of info. Like, it's not just the door opening and closing. That's something there. So they were both under the impression that it was one of us walking through the door, where we were downstairs. Like at this point of time, we were cleaning up. Nobody was in that doorway.
I could see where that could be brought up just from looking at it from a distance, but
it is nice. It is nice to be able to compare it to one of the ladies walking up the steps.
Yeah, but it's also too, when you zoom in on it, that's not a physical person there. A physical person would look like the female that y'all had there with you that was walking up the steps. It would be tangible. This is so faint. It's like you see it, but it's like, okay, what is it? But the movement of it's what gets me. It has the clear movement of a person walking through a door, or, it's a mist, but mist floats. This has a purpose. It's moving and
And that's a good way to put that, John. I mean, it does. It moves with a purpose. That door opens while that goes through it. That's a really good way to look at that. Interesting stuff. I like that.
So we probably have time.
I geek out about that video. I love that one.
Well, I mean, I think you geeked out about this one like pretty hard whenever we first found it. I mean, I think I sent you a bunch, and you're like, dude, look at that one again. Wait, no, look at it again. Look at it again.
Yep.
So we probably have time for one more, you think, Dan?
Yeah, if that.
I mean, if you want to kind of focus on some of our more recent stuff, if you go back to the pictures, there's the Evans City residence that we just took some pictures as we were walking down the street, walking back to the building. So this small town situated north of Pittsburgh had actually she reached out to us after we had done her apartment previously. She moved and she was experiencing some strange things. We just took some pictures as we were walking back after we got our ghost hunting wings, as we always do, some kind of barbecue. And so if you look at this, we have a few already. But if you look at this one, there wasn't much that was notable until you really zoom in on it and you really look at it. So the light on up there is the apartment.
Okay.
That's kind of where we were set up. But if you look below that, what do you see there?
Yo, dude. Who the hell's that? Who's that peeking out the window?
Yeah. That shop was closed.
Dude, that looks like some kind of super villain or something, dude. He clearly doesn't look friendly.
What we've been told is that looks like Mike Myers.
It does. That's what I think it looks like.
Not the comic book nerd out too much, but it almost looks like Morbius or Mephisto from like Doctor Strange or something.
Oh, there you go. And we were getting some weird readings on our devices, like there was something in the shop
right
below us. Yeah, it was not something that, well, like our equipment was lighting up from interactions from below it, not from within the room. So it was, something that was intriguing to follow up with.
It was like every time you put some of the devices on the floor, they started, spiking on us. You would pick them up, you'd put them on a chair or a table or something, and nothing happened. So it was almost like there was something below us.
And it wasn't like a constant thing where if there was old wiring or something that was giving off like some sort of electromagnetic pulse to it or field, it wasn't like you'd set the equipment there and it would constantly light up. It was doing it random intervals. So electricity obviously is a constant. It would have been like if somebody was turning the light off and on downstairs or something, maybe you could get some electrical interference that way. But it was just a very odd interaction where nothing was lighting up with the other stuff in the room. It was only the devices laying on the floor that would light up.
Well, I mean, if you look past it being terrifying, obviously, possibly
if you go to the next picture, Dan, there's actually
possibly an elderly gentleman, maybe, or elderly old lady, or I don't know. It kind of gives me that vibe. Maybe it's an older person.
So that's a quilt shop right now.
So it could be.
Yeah,
an old lady hanging out in her quilt shop.
Yeah, angry old lady that makes quilts.
I'm gonna scare you because you're gonna be warm while you're getting scared.
See, Amy even said that it has that Michael Myers mask vibe.
It does. I don't know what that is, but it does.
It's definitely terrifying. Yeah. It's got that sour face.
Yeah, this is like real zoomed in here. He even left the mouse clicker.
Oh yeah, I did.
Way to go.
Just wanted to give you an idea of what it looked like.
Angry
really close.
Y'all get off my lawn.
God dang you, Loch Ness monster. Get off my lawn.
Making quilts.
Okay, so I mean, ultimately, we have we've been doing investigations. I think we've talked about it on our the previous time we were on the show. We've been doing it for several years, and we've had some really cool interactions with things. We do have the website, obviously, IronCityParanormal.com, where we post all of our everything. Whether it's stuff that has videos or has things in the videos or not, we post all of the raw video to the website so that people can look at it and kind of offer their 2 cents into it.
Yeah, we don't tweak any of those things. I mean, anything that we cut down, we share on social media, and that's it. Like, that's not included at all. So whatever you see on our site is kind of the raw footage. None of us we're not video editors. We're not. we upload everything and it's there. It is what it is. So what you see is what we experienced.
Yeah, and I'm a novice with editing, and I couldn't pull that off. There's no freaking way.
Yeah, and again, we are in this for the fun of it. We do not, try to make money on doing anything with these. We are more recently getting into the residential type investigations where people are having experiences in their homes. We cannot clean houses. We do not. I can't keep my own house clean, let alone go in and clean somebody else's of spiritual energy or whatever.
But Dan is
But
practicing his saging,
yes, so we have
and it's
that
worked.
location. Yeah, that location with the Mike Myers on the first floor. That apartment was our first go. It's actually saging a location, and according to the resident of that location, there is a noticeable difference in the feel of the of the environment. So maybe we get into that one day, but at this point, all we can do is, take our expertise or what we consider our expertise and our equipment to a location to try to quantify with evidence of what people are experiencing. We're not going to go into a location telling people they're crazy or that there isn't anything there. If we don't get anything, we'll just say we haven't captured anything and we'd move on. But that is something that we have again developed that interest in recently, is helping people with this rather than it just being like a sideshow kind of thing, or to scare anybody. We want to try to help people the best we can, or at least things are less scary when you can say what it is. So Pittsburgh area, we try to stay Pittsburgh, New York, Ohio, West Virginia type area, just try to keep it close. But we're always looking for people as well that, we'll put on our social media if there's people that want to go out with us on an investigation. We always welcome that. We do not charge anything to go with us. All we charge is if we're paying to go to a location, we ask that you split the cost with us evenly. So if we have, $100 and we got 4 people going, it'd be 25 a piece instead of each of us paying 50, just for 2 people. So that's what we do. And that's why we do what we do. And, we appreciate these opportunities to come on with people like yourselves to, to bullshit about this stuff, because you're intrigued with it. We're intrigued with it. Your followers are intrigued with it. So please, if you guys, if anybody listening to this or, on the stream or whatever, please follow us on Instagram, Iron City Paranormal. As Derek's going through the evidence, or the videos, if he sees things, he'll specifically clip those videos down to.
And I think John can attest to that. I mean, I think he's been following along with a lot of the things that we've been sharing recently. So.
Yeah, and if y'all notice at the bottom of the stream, I have a little ticker that goes across, and it's got their Instagram at Iron City Paranormal, just scrolling across there. So give them a follow, because that's where they put a lot of their evidence. Gettysburg EVP that Dan's still a little sour about that he missed out on.
Oh God, I'm so pissed off about that.
Well, I think we'll have to be back on for a part 3 maybe to cover some of those things.
I told you guys you'll come on as much as you want.
Awesome.
So you just got to let me know and I'll bring y'all on. Ain't no problem. Because I love this stuff. I mean, yeah, I call it horror hangout, but I don't. With paranormal, I don't necessarily intend it to be scary. If anything, I like it to be an educational thing, because, yeah, it's scary because it's unknown, and yeah, there are some things that's within that realm that are not super nice, and you probably shouldn't mess with. Zach, I'm talking to you. The best way to understand it is to learn from guys like yourselves, guys and girls like yourselves that dabble in this, that's actually pounding the pavement and going out and looking for this stuff, because it is that great mystery that we've, like I said earlier, that we've all searched for that answer. And we may never get that answer of what's on the other side until one of those spirits can really manifest itself with enough energy to be like, okay, let's have a seat and let's talk about what it is that you're going to deal with when you pass on. Is it is it okay? Is it super scary? I mean, who knows? That's the great mystery of it. And then to hear you talk about, the loneliness of a child that's in a high school that's leaning on your shoulder. I mean, that's super sad, man, because this kid's sitting there and he sees probably hundreds of, if not probably in its existence of being in that other realm, I would have to say probably hundreds of thousands of kids, and could never interact with any of them. And then you come along and you acknowledged that he was there. That probably meant the world to that kid. that, hey, somebody finally noticed me. I'm here. They're not just walking through me and ignoring me.
And we hope so. We hope that's the case. We really do. And we give them every opportunity to make it as easy as possible to interact with us.
At the end of the day, they were people, just like me and
Absolutely.
you.
Absolutely.
And that's how we treat them, and that's how we treat every place that we go.
Mm-hmm.
It is super scary when they come knocking on your door and you don't see them like they did to me, but it's just like anybody else. It's like a neighbor, they got to fill you out and see if you're cool or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'd rather go to them. We don't want them coming to us.
Yeah.
Thanks, but no thanks.
And they're mischievous too. I mean, I'm pretty sure you got some practical jokers in there too that like to mess with you. And
mm-hmm.
it's just
For
the way
sure.
it is. They have
Absolutely.
personalities, and I'm sure the personality that they had in life carries on into the afterlife,
Sure.
Well, guys, it has been a true pleasure to have you on again. And yes, there will be a part 3 when they have the time to come back on. So stay tuned for more information on that. God, you all are making out this month. Normally I only do the horror hangout once a month, but I'm loving this so much it's turned into 3 parts.
Hey, we'll love to be back on. And thank you for everything, John. And we look forward to being back. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, guys. And thank you for teaching me stuff and showing me spooky things and things that, I've learned more in these last 2 live streams than I've probably from any of those shows. Those shows,
That's good to hear.
Well, everybody can say, well, I've learned so much about ghost hunt from the shows. Yes, you can, but at the same time, it's like, but it's
Man,
more
they're looking for ratings. That's what it ultimately comes down to.
Entertainment purposes only, should have a little star with a little thing that says for entertainment purposes only down at the bottom. But
mm-hmm.
I've always had a problem with guys trying to get a rating off of messing with things that you don't understand.
Right.
Because there's a price to that. You look at Zach, he's got to wear these glasses for the rest of his life because he was messing with some things that he shouldn't have been messing with. And now he has damaged eyes and has to wear prism glasses forever.
You look at his crew too. it screwed all them up too.
And one guy lost his marriage all because they poked a demonic spirit. Hey, you poked the bear, you're going to have to pay the price. Well, guys, I know you all are got to get out of here, got things to do. I know Dan's got the new baby. Derek's got, wants to enjoy your Sunday. I got to get out of here and clean my apartment. Yes, it sounds super fun. But yeah, just let me know when you guys want to come back on and we'll make it happen.
Awesome. Thanks, John. And thanks everybody for watching. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you.
All you guys that joined us, thank you so much. And, we'll see you again next time on Behind the Fiends. See you later, Dan. See you later, Derek. And John's out, ladies and gentlemen. Later. Well, I said later. And I'm not later. Okay, now it's later. Bye, everybody.